Hi everyone, welcome to another LaTeX tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how to generate LaTeX documents that have the tables side by side like what we have here. So here we see that each table has its own caption and they are arranged side by side. This is one design. There are also situations whereby each of the tables will have their own captions, and then there's also going to be a main caption such as this design. All right, so I'm going to show you how to generate a LaTeX document, or let's say how to write a LaTeX command that will allow you to generate these kinds of tables, this as well as this. All right, so let's get started. And by the way, the LaTeX codes that I'm going to use, everything is available, so just to the description box you'll find a link to get the LaTeX codes. All right, and then you can use that, or let's say the LaTeX file. All right, so just check the description box for a link to get the materials. All right, so let's get started. All right, so I'm going to start with a new document, an entirely new document. I think I'll open one here first, and then we will start. All right, so we are going to do two things. So we will begin with this one where each of the tables has its own caption and they are also arranged side by side, and then we are going to shift to the other table type. So we are going to have two different documents. So we are starting with how to generate this kind of tables. All right, so this design, let me just put it this, or let's say this layout. All right, now I'm using a LaTeX environment which is on my computer, but you can also run LaTeX online. So you can use Overleaf, and there are also other online platforms that you can use. So just check the description box. I have a tutorial that shows how to run LaTeX codes online. So check them and then just start in case you want to run it online. Okay, so let's get back. Now let's do this. I'll go back to LaTeX and I'll proceed. Now with the table we are going to design, this one that I earlier on showed, and as well as the other one, we are going to use the mini page environment in LaTeX. This is what's going to help us to design the tables side by side. All right, so this is the link to the mini page document. So just check the description box for a link, and you can also use that to get more information about the mini page environment. So let's continue. I'll shift back and then we proceed. All right, so we are going to design the table which is side by side, where each of the tables has its own caption such as this. So let's continue. All right, so I am here now. So we'll start with this one. Let me just do it here. We are first going to activate our LaTeX environment, or let's say generate the LaTeX document. So I will start with /document class 10pt and then article. So this one is mandatory. We are using it to kind of open the documents. All right, so take note of that. Then we are also going to use a package called caption. We need it to be able to write captions and also customize the captions. So that is it, and then we begin our documents. And then we end our document. So in this block, we are going to write our codes to get our tables generated. So let's proceed. And by the way, I have an introductory video on tables. So for beginners, I will encourage you to check that video out as well. All right. So that will help you to understand what we are going to do now. So please check that video to learn the basics of generating tables. Okay. So we are going to start. So what we are going to be doing is to use the mini page environments to design the tables in their own environment and then place them side by side. So that the key here is the mini page. Let me just go back. Okay, so that's the key here. So we have a brief description that tells us what it does. So it produces what we call the power boxes. So these are boxes. And so because these are boxes, it now makes it possible for you to customize them or place them in certain positions. So that is the rationale behind what we are doing. So we are placing a table in a box, and that box environment, that power box environment, is what will help us to do the arrangements. So basically that is it. So let's go back to our document. So we will say slash begin, and I'll say mini page. All right, that is it. So with a mini page, we also have some options. We have the placement option, which we use, and then we also have the width, which we are going to specify. All right. So here, when it comes to this side, sometimes you have to do some customization, but we are going to use one which works, and you can use that as a template to do some additional modifications. All right, so here I'm going to use the mini page. I'll indicate the position, and I also indicate the width. That's what I'm going to do here. All right, so position here, I will say C. And then when it comes to the width, I'll say 1.0 inch. So this is going to be my dimension or design. Let me just put it that way. Okay. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to create a mini page for each table. Okay. And then once we have these several mini pages, then we now do the adjustments. All right. So basically, that's what we are doing here. So this is the mini page for the first table. And so when we come here, we say slash caption off, and we indicate table. Then we can leave it blank if we don't want any caption, but we want just the table number. You can leave it blank, or you can also give the table. That's fine. So here I can just say, I can even say left table, because we are going to do it left. It will be arranged, all of them will be arranged side by side. So the first one goes to the left, far left, second, and in that order. So that's what we are doing here. Okay, so I'll just leave it like this, or just to, yeah, let's just put it like this. Okay, or for the sake of beginners, let's just leave it blank. You can later modify the headers, that's fine, but I will leave it blank. All right, then what I do is that I will begin my table. So I'll just say slash begin tabular, and then here, just like we did with the standard tables, you indicate your columns. Here I'm justifying everything with C center. Okay, I just want to have 3 columns, and then here we say slash H line, and then here I will give any header, or let's say any row. We are now going to add the rows. So let's just use what we had here. So here we had ABC 1 2 3 CBA. Okay, that's for the first table. So I'll just say A B C slash H line 1 2 3. I'll end that row, another horizontal line, then the last row, which is C B A, and then we end it, we add another horizontal line. Then we close the tabular environment, so that's going to be slash end tabular. Then we also need to indicate that is the end of the mini page documents. All right, so here we say slash end mini page, or mini page. All right, so that's going to be the end. So now let's even run this first. Let's see what comes up first. So this is the first page. All right, okay, first mini page, which shows what we have here. That's table 1. Now if we are adding the second table, the second table will now come to this side, because we are arranging it from left to right. Okay, so that's what we are doing. And also the number of tables on a particular line will depend on the dimensions you set here and your table design in general. So if the weight you are setting here is smaller, that means obviously we are going to have more tables. But at the end of the day, you also need to look at how readable that document will be. So you just need to do adjustment according to what you see or how you see it fit. All right. Another thing you should also notice that when it comes to the mini page, when we are creating the second one, we should make sure it starts just after we end the previous one. So that means there shouldn't be any space between the slash end and the slash begin of the next mini page. All right, so here we say slash begin mini page. So it's going to be the same settings here. So I'll just copy this and bring it. Okay, the same settings here. Then I'll indicate my caption. So slash caption of, and then I indicate it's also going to be for a tabular object. Okay, but it's going to be table rather, because we need to follow a specific process. So slash caption of is going to be table, and then I'll also leave it blank. So when you leave it blank, only the table numbers are shown. Later you can add your modifications. That is fine. All right. Now after that, you bring your begin tabular. So here I'm going to copy because I'm going to use the same design here. Okay, the same number of columns, just that the contents will differ a bit. But so at the end of the day, just follow this and you can later modify the tables as you see fit. All right. Now once you have this, I bring my slash h line, then I proceed. So let's look at the second one. We have DEF 456 FED. All right. So here I'm going to put that here. I will just say DEF. Horizontal line 4, 5, 6. You can also put any number there of your choice. That is fine. Then we add the last one. Let's see what is there. So FED. So slash H line F E D slash H line. Then we say slash end tabular. All right, we have it this way, and then we say slash and mini page. All right, this becomes the second table. Now let's run this code again. So you see what has been indicated here. I'll even zoom in a bit for you to see. Let's zoom in. Yeah, so you see that the next table has also been created. All right, now let's add the last table. And so before I even start with the last table, let's look at what I said. I said the slash end mini page for the previous one and the slash begin mini page for the next one. There shouldn't be any space. If we were to put a space, let's see what will happen. You see what has happened. Okay, the arrangement gets disrupted. And so the rule is that there should be no space between the slash end mini page of the previous one and the slash begin mini page of the next one. So take note of that. This is key. You need to have this done. All right, now let's rerun and then get it sorted out. All right, good. Now we go to the last one. And so the same, we start with slash begin mini page. I'll just copy and paste. Again, no space. Then slash caption of, I'll also use the same. And then I go to slash begin tabular. Again, I'll use the same design here, but you can also modify it to see what comes up. All right, and then slash H line Then I add the next table, so which is this one. But the rationale here is that for the tables we have 3 columns and 3 rows. So here you can even modify and use your own table. There, that is fine. I will just do something here. So here I'll just say GH, something like that. So I'll just say GHI. I'll say /H line, and I'll say what, 7, 8, 9, just something like this, /H line. It's backslash, so H line. Then I'll say J K L, I mean just something, /H line. Then I have to end the tabular as well as the mini page. So here I'll just copy these ones and place them there because it's the same thing. Okay, so it's supposed to be /end tabular and then /end mini page. So let's run this and let's see what comes up. All right, so we see the third table has also been created. Let me just zoom out a bit for you to see. So you see it has also been created here nicely. So we see the 3 tables arranged side by side. Now, if you create another table and then the space there is too small for it, that table is gonna go below. All right, so you need to take note of that as well. So just know that. All right. All right. Now let's look at something else. Now, in your documents, you might have some tables as well as some text. All right, so let's say you have some text before this table. Let's put some text. There's something I want to show you. If let's say there was to be some text above, let's say hi there. Yes, it's a LaTeX document. Let's just put something like this there. If you run this, let's see what happens. When you run this, you realize that the captions have what? The space between them is kind of very close. And so ideally you may want some space between the text as well as the tables themselves. So one way to do this is to send the caption below. So that means instead of the caption coming here, you can put, I'll just do it one of them. Instead of it coming here, you can just put it somewhere here. Let's see if this one works. Okay, you can put it somewhere here. But the point I want to make here, let's just go back. The point I want to make here is that irrespective of where the caption is going to be, now place it back, the space there will still be small. And so what you want to do is to add some extra space between the text as well as the table. So one approach to do this is that just after the text, in the next line, you can just say /v space, that's vertical space, and indicate the distance. Okay, so here we can put less than 0.5 cm. That means that between this text and then this environment here, this line where these tables are, there's going to be some space, and the space created, the distance will be what? The distance from the text to that table, or let's say the distance of the space, let me just put it that way, is going to be 0.5 cm. So if we run this, you will see that what? There has been some increase in the distance. Okay, so this is one way to also kind of put some distance between the text you have above the table and then the tables themselves. The same applies to a text below. If the text were to be below, let's just put something here, another text. You see where it is. And so just after the end of the mini page, just put in, let's say, one space, and then just say one line space, and just say salivate space, and also indicate the distance. So here I'll say 0.5 cm, and then let's run it. So if you run it, then it's also going to what? put in some considerable space between the table and the text. So this makes it much readable, right, and understandable. Okay, when they are too close, it also becomes very busy and then things get jumbled up. So this is one way to also format the document that you have. All right, so this becomes the approach for designing tables side by side. And so here, this table that we have here, each of these tables has its own caption. Now, what we should also notice that if we are going to go by this approach, let's look at this design here. If you want this design here, then in that case, we have to what? Add some additional information to the LaTeX code that we have. So that means in the next session that we are going to be doing, we are going to look at how to create this table here, this kind of design where each of these tables has its own caption, and then they also have a main caption here. So let's look at how we are going to do that. So we are going to create another LaTeX file, and then I'll show you how to do that as well. So now we are going to proceed. So we are going to look at how to create tables side by side where each of the tables has its own caption, and then there's also a main caption here as well. So this is for useful situations whereby you want to indicate that these are subtables. All right, so let's look at how we are going to do this. So I'll open my LaTeX file and then I'll proceed. And so with this one too, it's going to be something similar. There was going to be slight modifications. All right, so again, for those who are new into tables, please watch my introductory video on how to create tables. So that will enable you to understand what we are going to do here. All right, so again, I'll create my document. So I'll say slide document class, then pt article. Okay, this is going to be it. And then I will need some packages. So here I need a package called sub caption. So I'll say /use package. All right, and the package is called sub caption. So this will allow us to put in sub captions. All right, then I'll begin my documents with this command here, and then I'll end my document. So within this block, I'll put in my tables. So let's start. So here we are going to use the table, and we're also going to use sub tables. That's what we are going to do here. So just take note of that. All right. So I'll begin with this. I will say /begin table. All right. Placement is going to be H. That is here. So once I begin this, I will also say /end table. All right, so in between this table environment, we are going to create everything. All right, now what is happening here is that, let's go back to the document. Let's just infer from the title. So here we say table 1. So what this means that everything here is one table, or let's say one single table environment, or one table, whichever one you want to use, and then each of these becomes a sub table. And so if these are subtables, then the captions here also become sub captions, and they become the main caption, the caption of the table. So that is why we are also using this package sub caption here, so that the caption we are going to give will be appropriately tied to their respective sub tables. So that is the design here. All right, so I have my begin table, my end table. Then again, for tables, we are going to center them. And so what I'm going to do is to say /centering. Okay, to center the table as well as the captions. Then here, because all these three tables have one caption, that's the main caption, I will just give a custom one here. I'll just say caption 3 tables side by side. I can even add, let's say, 3 sub tables. I mean, it's a caption, so you decide the caption which is appropriate for you. So you need to take note of that as well. So here I've given what? A caption which says side by side. All right, so I'll just close it here. So there's a caption. All right, so that's how it is going to be. All right, now once we are done with this, then we begin. We have 3 tables. These are subtables for this particular section. Let's put all these as subtables. And so because we are going to consider them as subtables, we'll say slash begin, and we say what? Sub table. That's how it's going to be. Again, we'll say C, that's position. And then we give the width. I'll say 0.2 slash text width. All right. Again, this value here, you have to set it based on how many tables you want per line. All right. So if you increase it, you will have fewer tables per line. If you decrease it, you will have more tables. So you decide how you want it to be. But so some of these values, you can get it by experimenting. Okay, experiment with different values and you get the one which best suits or meets your needs. Okay, so this is what we have. Now this is slash begin table, so that slash begin subtable. So we are going to also use the slash end subtable at some point in time. So just take note of that. We will come back to this. All right. Now we have this. Okay. Then in the next line, we also add slash centering. Then we say slash begin tabular. Then we are coming to the tabular environment itself. So here again, I'm creating a table with 3 columns, slash H line, and then I'll give my tables. So again, let's just pick something here. All that we want is we need tables with 3 columns and 3 rows. So you can put in any table, okay, this with the same design. So here I will just say A, B, C. So that's for the first row. Now for those who are used to the table creation, this indicates the end of the row. And the next line, if you want to add a horizontal line, you bring it, then you add your next record. So the next record, I'll just say 1 and 2 and 3. I end it, I add slash H line again, I add another one, 4 and 5 and 6. End of row, horizontal line. So once you are done with your table, you've added the columns, you've added the rows, everything is done. Then you say slash end tabular, because we started with this one, slash begin tabular. So we end it. All right. Once we are done with that, we indicate our sub caption. Each of them has a caption. So the captions, by the way, you can put it up or below, but I choose to put it below each table, the sub captions. So that's why you see them here. So here I'll say slash sub caption, and I'll give a suitable caption. So I can say sub table 1. Sub table 1. If you leave it blank, nothing will be indicated, just the table label or table number. So this becomes the caption. Then we now end the sub table environment, or let's say we close it. So we say slash end sub table. We close it this way. All right. Now we already have our end table here. And so let's run this and test to see what comes up next. All right, so we have something like this coming up. Let's zoom in to see what we have. So this is the first table, by the way. Now we follow the same principle. If you want to add another table, this is first. So it goes like this, like this, like this. So if you want to add another table, then the same commands. You start from subtable to the end table. So the same command, you put them here. A similar command like this. So any table you want to add, you start with /begin subtable. You end the subtable. You indicate whether you want it centered or something else. And then you add your tabular environment as well. So here I'm just going to do a copy and paste here. Just repeat it here for us to see. So the same thing here. I'll just paste it here. So you see, this is the first one, and this is the second one. That's what we have here. All right. So the same thing here, and there's also a caption as well. So here I'll just say subtable 2, and then let's run it. So you see that another one has been added. So we have that here. You could modify, we can let's just modify the second one. I'll just say D, E, F. This is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'll just make this modification. Let's run it, and then let's see what is happening. So this becomes the second table that we have here. All right. Now, if we were to add another table, then it's the same principle. You begin with subtable, you end with subtable, and then everything in there, you also indicate it as appropriate. So I'll just copy and paste. I'll just make a modification here, just something here. Yeah, just something to differentiate these tables. So this is fine. I'm going to run it again. I should see another table created that we see here. So this becomes table C. All right. So the number of tables you want, you put it there. So as many as you want, you make sure they are all starting with /begin subtable / and they also have their captions. This becomes another caption. So yeah, let's change it to subtable 3. All right. So this is how it works. All right. Okay, now this is for the table. Let's just put some text up above it. Let's see. Hi there. Okay, yes, good. So we see what our text there here as well. All right, so we have it there. You can add several texts. Let's say hi there. I'll just add several of these. Let's just add several of these. Yeah, so you can see them there. All right. So these are text. So this text will also be arranged. Now, because this is a single table, we said what placement option is H. So that means wherever the table was created, that is where it will be specified. So if there was a text above and the table environment was just below it, it will be placed below it. If you put a text just after the table to it will be there. Let's say text after table. It will also come just after the table. All right, as has been indicated here. So once you have the table, the rest of the text, you can decide to leave it with the default settings or make customizations. All right, so basically with LaTeX, you can make your modifications, you can customize the arrangement, text, everything. It depends on what you want at the end of the day. All right, so this tutorial is to serve as a basis, or let's say a basic guide that can help you to design your documents. All right, now For those who want the LaTeX code and files, there's a link you can use to get it. All right. And for beginners, I'll still encourage you to watch my tables tutorial and as well as other tutorials on tables as well. All right. Now, for those who are interested to learn how to also customize row spacing in tables as well as column spacing in tables, then please watch the videos in this playlist.